We alive right now, man. It's going down, excited for the season. You know, we coming off a playoff win. I mean, you know, we had a couple wins.
At least pride-wise, made me feel good because you don't ever want to get swept.
And I've never done this. I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
If you ask me, can the Bucks win Game 5? I'd put it at
100%
confidence. Yes.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
At this point, we don't know what's going to happen. You can get Game 6. You can steal it.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Winning Game 6 and 7?
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
I don't think they're going to win the whole series, but
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
All right. Welcome in to the last Dear Diaries instant reactions for the 2024-2025 Milwaukee Bucks season. As if you don't already know by now, Milwaukee Bucks lost Game 5 of their first round series with the Indiana Pacers, 119-118 in heartbreaking fashion. I'm Jackson Gross here with Morgan to, what's the best way to lick our wounds, as it were, to recover from a rough Tuesday night in Indianapolis. Morgan, one day later, how are we feeling?
You know what? Tongues away. No licking here. I'm feeling good, and I'm looking forward to elaborate on why that is. I think that negative Nelly was last night. Today's less than instant reaction is positive Patty.
Positive Patty. Okay.
Are you also a positive Patty in this moment?
I don't even know what I am. I had a weird day at work too, so that's also playing a little bit into my overall mood. But overall, I guess my immediate rage and anger has subsided and disappointment. I'm in a decent place now, I guess. I think it's the best place, the best word for it. I'm in a decent place.
Yeah.
So, let's where do we even start? I don't think we can really start this without it basically starts in the fourth quarter, because after the first three, we're all tied up at 75-75. Gary Trent Jr., who could not hit the broadside of a barn the first three quarters. I think he had 9 total points in the first 3 quarters of play. He earned himself at that moment quite a bit of money heading into free agency. Throughout, he scored 12 points in the fourth quarter, and the Bucks seemingly had everything on lock to take Game 5, head back to Milwaukee for Game 6. And then, what was it? They were up 4, and the Pacers were able to tie it within 40 seconds or 35 seconds. That was a huge thing, because not only the starters had played basically the entire game at that point, but then to force them in an OT period, that was not ideal. But we go into overtime. Gary Trent Jr. is shooting the lights out again. They're up 7 with 40 seconds to go after AJ Green hits 1 of 2. Gary Trent throws Andrew Nembhard hits his second logo 3, where I saw a stat he shot 58% from 3 in the series. So great stuff. Gary Trent, the hero of this fourth quarter and overtime, throws the ball right to Andrew Nembhard. They score an and 1 layup by Tyrese Halliburton over AJ Green, which, according to the last 2-minute report, wasn't even a foul. So there's that. So the Pacers are down by 1. The Bucks bring it in. AJ Green finds Gary Trent on the wing. The ball just squirts through his hands and between his legs, out of bounds. And then Giannis gets beat by Tyrese Halliburton. to give them the game-winning layup, and Gary Trent's full quarter is way off. So it was just a state of shock throughout that entire fourth quarter and overtime in the last 70 seconds between those two periods.
And it fills me with excitement and happiness. because
okay.
The Milwaukee Bucks were not going to win this series. Dame going out with the torn ACL in tragic fashion in Game 4 was, it wasn't going to happen. The Bucks went out in the most cinematic way possible, while also it being the quickest way possible. We ended the misery as soon as we could. And I honestly, this is one of those transcendent experiences. I don't know what you felt last night, but I, especially, regular season NBA, it's hard to get up for that. And like, I had forgotten how sports could make me feel, for better and for worse. And certainly it ended on for worse end. But there is something about losing yourself in the moment, in fandom, that we transcended reality last night, Jackson. And I think that it would be loath to overlook that fact. Besides that,
besides the vibes,
the fact that it happened quickly also means that Doc Rivers will likely be fired.
likely
within the short future, and I think we can talk about. We'll be talking about that more. But for me, when I go through parts of this team going forward, people can vulture Giannis all they want. This man isn't going anywhere, and we can leave it at that. John Horst has inked an extension. He is generally a good general manager, and wouldn't have inked that extension if he were not going to be able to overrule ownership / Giannis to be able to actually put a coach in place that knows what to do. And because people have been firing their coaches willy-nilly, there are suddenly plentiful non-Adrian Griffin coaches on the market. So I am hopeful for the future Doc. And Doc finally adjusted to play, the good players last night. And I'm excited about AJ Green. I'm excited about not the right word, but Kevin Porter Jr. I am, I have, I can see Jericho Sims being here. And, at a certain point, we're concerned about Gary leaving, taking a bigger role elsewhere. Given the only very few names I just mentioned, he would have a hell of a role on this team. I mean, he played 48 freaking minutes
in an elimination game.
What bigger role you want? And that's neglecting Ryan Rollins, who was inexplicably unplayed for a majority of the series by Mr. Rivers. And we still have, whatever wild card Andre Jackson Jr. ends up being. So, Kevin O'Connor, or whatever his name is, can say that we don't have young talent all he wants, but we do. Draft capital? Not really. Young talent? Yes. And are any of those guys above 6'6"? No, which is, something that can be addressed. But all I'm saying is that I had a wild ride, and I think that the more detrimental parts of the organization, i.e. Doc Rivers and likely Kyle Kuzma, will be out the door in the very short term. And that leaves me excited for kind of the Giannis 2.0 core that we've been waiting for with some of the young guys that we've seen come up this season.
Yeah. I honestly, for the most part, I kind of agree with you with the wild ride aspect and just being able to enjoy playoff basketball. Listen, for people who don't remember, who don't know, my primary fandom, at least growing up, was the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls have not won a playoff series since 2015 when they beat, I don't even remember who they played in the first round that year. They ended up playing the Cavs in the second. I think it was the Hawks or not the Hawks, maybe like the Pacers or something. Just a random guess. I have no idea. It's been a decade. It's been 8 years since the Chicago team has won a playoff series. So for me, it has been a long time since I've had any real enjoyment watching a team. And for me, who is not necessarily a full-fledged Bucks fans like most of the rest of the staff, basically, being able to enjoy Gary Trent randomly turning into Ray Allen, and Giannis fight for offensive rebounds, and Bobby Portis talk some shit, and just AJ Green hitting a big bucket. That was enjoyable. I was jumping up and down in my chair. I was throwing some fists. It felt nice, despite obviously this result. It felt nice to actually be excited about a team and be excited for playoff basketball. I mean, the last time for that was Bucks Bulls in 2022 in Game 2 when DeRozan had 40. That was the last time for me. So very enjoyable for that. And I agree with a lot what you said about what some of the national people are saying. And shout out to Lori Nickel. She wrote a great article for the JS where she outlined 12 reasons why Giannis should stay. And I agreed with her open in that I got swept up a little bit by like, what are some of the trade packages that would look like for Giannis? And I saw some today even for like, it was like Green, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith Jr., and a bunch of first round picks from the Rockets, or Stephen Castle, Sohan, and a bajillion first round picks from the Spurs. And it's like, those all look great. But I remember what I've said before, and we've talked about, that it would be organizational malpractice to trade Giannis in the middle of the end of his prime unless he specifically states he wants out. And basically everything he said, there was one clip that kind of got some traction of like, oh, maybe he doesn't think this team can win a championship. Well, they couldn't. They lost in 5 to the Pacers. They won one less game against this Pacers team than an injured Dame and Chris Middleton did last year. They were playing Patrick Beverley and Danilo Gallinari. So clearly there are problems. Kyle Kuzma. So yeah, there's all that. But I agree with you that there are promising pieces. AJ Green and I think, is it Ryan Rollins or Kevin Porter Jr. are 25 or younger. Like, there is young talent, provided that we can keep all that. And Jericho Sims too, he's going to have to stay, especially if Bobby and Brooke leave, because he would be the only center on the roster at that point. But overall, I think there is some positives to take away, and I think, like you said, they went out on their best foot. They choked, but they went out on their best foot.
Quick Jericho Sims note. I recommend everyone look at his wiki page. His picture is really funny. Definitely wasn't checking that to see how old he was. He is 26. I think it's important. It's always important to kind of find the right level of catastrophizing. Arguably, not enough catastrophizing has done in some regards in recent years. And I think that injuries really complicate that. You take away a key piece of the puzzle, you can kind of argue that you didn't have all of your pieces and therefore you couldn't be expected to go as far as you wanted to go. And that's obviously true to a degree, but when it keeps happening and you have an aging core and injuries are actually more of a feature than a bug, I think that it gets tiring. And I think that I've been pleased to see, at least, I mean, if the Brewhoop staff had control of this organization, Doc would be gone yesterday. But I've been pleased to see that it does seem like Dame's injury is not going to play a huge role in terms of perceptions of this team and its future. And, obviously it meant that they weren't going to come back in the series. That's a given. But, that just because Dame got injured or was injured to start the series, that doesn't mean that Doc should have his neck saved. But I think that more reasonable catastrophizing of like, no, like Kyle Kuzma does not fit on this team. I don't know if he fits on any team, but that's for another team to find out. It's just making sure that we kind of find the appropriate level of alarm and then pull those triggers without going too far. And for the reasons as well as others that you enumerated, trading Giannis would be a step too far, I think. And I can't even remember what clickbaity athletic headline was like. The Bucks are
cooked.
The wilderness. They're toast.
They're toast.
Crunchy. Like that's like it's a appropriate catastrophe. I mean, appropriate catastrophizing. And at least with voices closer to the team, I'm glad that I've been seeing that.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with you that I like that people acknowledge that Doc is not the right coach or maybe even a good coach anymore, especially for this team. Kuzma's not a good fit. And that they're like, yeah, even if Dame plays, like they got blown out. Obviously, he didn't play a lot, but they lost game 2 with Dame coming back. They won 1 game with Dame.
Yeah.
And that was because he didn't even play that one when they won. So there's that portion of it. So I agree with that. But you're right. There's the level of like, okay, there's things that can be fixed. There are very obvious fixable things. The avenues may be hard, especially depending on what you decide to do and how many free agents there are. But overall, I think there are avenues to improve. A lot. I think there's a lot of ways they can go about it. Like if you want to overreact a little bit to game 3 and game 5, you give Gary Trent the full mid-level, and then you see what it's maybe extending AJ Green on a discount while he's just ascending, and then maybe Kevin Porter Jr. opts in, and you bring back Ryan Rollins and Jericho Sims and see what you can do from there. But yeah, the whole idea of the Bucks are toast is a little far afield. Like John Horst has been known to pull off a lot of stunners. Like no one expected Gary Trent to sign for the minimum with the Bucks. Like no one saw that coming until it actually happened. So he's always got at least one good shocking move in him somewhere. And like you said, he's a pretty good, decent GM. But just to move on this point for a second, we wouldn't be doing our job as content creators in this space without addressing the extracurriculars of Game 5. For those who haven't seen yet, Giannis not only got into it with Tyrese Halliburton's dad post game.
False.
He also
Tyrese Halliburton's dad got into Giannis, and that order is important.
Yes. I saw indie writers say that Giannis was getting into it with him.
And to be clear, this is fan getting into it with a professional. Like this is
yeah. And then Giannis getting into it with Benedict Mathurin.
Same thing. It's like don't talk shit at my guy. Like no, I have nothing to say to that.
It was just so weird because Giannis had his hand around Mathurin's head, and then they just started talking, and then they had to be separated. And I just want I wish Adam was here because I want to get his perspective too. What are your thoughts on like Brooke Lopez not like being in the middle of the scuffle and like making peace with Boomer, the mascot for the Pacers?
I'm always here for mascot content, as I will be previewing as we come to the conclusion of this reaction.
But like, and I'm glad like Tyrese Halliburton like said, yeah, my dad went too far. I'm gonna talk to him. Like, that's like the right answer in that situation. It's like you can't have like again. I wonder where Tyrese got the front running behavior from. I wonder where he got it from.
Yeah,
but that was just so weird. So weird.
Yeah. Ultimately, Bucks lost a 1-point game without their second best player. And that's all we need to say.
Yeah, that's they lost they lost a 1-point game without their second best player and only played like 6 functional basketball players.
5, to be frank. Like, yeah. Do you have last basketball thoughts before I preview some off-season content that we'll be shoveling out?
I don't know. I think most of what is the reaction from this game is like the typical Doc Rivers stuff in terms of schematics and making adjustments way too late. He honestly, for as much as we were all kind of like on pins and needles with the idea of starting Gary Trent because of how good he was off the bench, is that going to mess with his mojo or whatever?
I was not, but some of the we, yeah.
Some of the we. But yes, there were some of us who were concerned about that. Me being one of them. That he should have been starting like basically since December. After that rough first month or whatever it was of the season, he should have been starting. Kyle Kuzma should have never started at all. I think during the regular season you stick with Brooke, but after game 1, you should have been starting Bobby Portis. There's like such obvious fixes that lowly me, B-team bomber, freshman high school basketball player, sophomore team bench writer would do off the go. Like, and the fact that Doc Rivers, a NBA champion head coach, a head coach who has been in the league for decades as a player and a coach, like, you just have to recognize those things. Like, it's too obvious that certain pieces were not working in this series from game 1, and he didn't make an adjustment until game 3, and it didn't matter because he didn't make the full adjustment until game 5 with your backs against the wall. So, again, like I said, after the end of the playback, it hurts to say it, but my Marquette brethren gotta go. Go back to ESPN. Go on Amazon. Join Blake, Dirk, and Steve Nash. Go have fun with that. So please just do that. Like, please go away from the Bucks. Your year and a half of mediocre service is no longer required.
This offseason, we can look forward to a wide variety of content on brewhoop.com. Obviously, much of it will be insightful, strictly basketball related reporting. Amidst that, to sprinkle in some pizzazz, you can expect a full throttle defense of the reverse eating cam during You can also expect a recurring series of mascot content. I want to interview Bango. I want to understand why mascots make so much money / make different amounts of money depending on the team and what factors lead into that. I want to understand why we care about mascot birthdays all of a sudden. I just think that, the unanswered questions for the Bucks pale in comparison to the number of unanswered questions about mascots, simply because, we don't have enough voices raising those questions. So I've got I got a notes tab with the ideas that I've been cooking up, and I think that that's most of. There was there's also like an NBA math game that you can expect a full scale auto ethnography of me playing this game that's intended to teach middle schoolers how to add and subtract. I am looking forward to it now that we are finally in a stretch of the season, which is to say the season being over. I can pop off on these things at my desire.
All of that sounds wonderful, and I will throw my hat in the ring on that as well, because as was suggested a while ago, I have a lot of basketball cards in my collection. So there will be a basketball card review of like total cards, which ones are the best, which ones I probably should get rid of. I think I have a Giannis rookie Panini card somewhere, so I have to find it. I have to go through all of them, but expect that in the near future.
And in true Brewhoop fashion, you could eat all of them.
What if they're valuable? Why would I do that?
If they're that valuable, they'll be valuable on the other end.
Are you worried I'm iron deficient or something?
No, I'm serious about this. So listen. You group different, like, so maybe you have like all like 2015 issued Milwaukee Bucks, and like that's like you grind that into like a cereal one morning, and then you report back on the results the rest of the day or the following day, and then you do that with each iteration of the Bucks, and then we kind of get some historical data of how it's a way of processing quite literally these different historical Bucks teams. That might. I think we need to do that. I rest my case.
So wait, you're telling me I should go out and buy like a 2024-25 like Bucks like team card set and grind it into a cereal or some type of edible substance?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would need to think through the specifics. I'd like to think that you could kind of like, make sure that it's not hazardous to eat, but then like kind of have it like sprinkle it like a little like amidst your maybe like pill form. I assume, you have Bucks among your cards, surely, so hopefully you would be using
but I'd rather go out and spend like 10 or 15 bucks on like cards I know aren't going to be valuable, because it's like a team set and they make 1 billion of those
for whatever reason, that doesn't light my match in the same way.
Okay.
Don't question why.
All right then.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's a way around not eating your own cards. I just like, you can't tell me that you're gonna get ill by eating a basketball card.
Unless there's like some hazardous like paint or whatever they put on the card, like if it's or like the holographic paper or plastic is not suitable.
Yeah, you probably would want to miss those. Unsurprisingly, okay, it does. So Reddit says, okay, this is with like playing cards. Okay, I would look into the material that it's printed on. Apparently, there are they'll be like, because it also makes sense, because like who collects cards besides yourself. 5-year-olds, they might gnaw on them. So I actually do think that, like, compared to maybe other inedible items, there's probably some safety rails in place to make sure that, because it seems like with playing cards that there's like specifications of like non-toxic inks, starch-based adhesives, water-based coatings. These all sound like legitimate hyphenated phrases to me.
What has happened?
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Anyway, any final basketball thoughts on this series or the 2024-2025 Milwaukee Bucks?
I can't tops that.
Oh, brother. Get him out of here. Anyway, I'll give my brief thoughts. It was an interesting season. It was one of the seasons of all time for Milwaukee Bucks. Incredible highs, frustrating lows, interesting moments, lots of backwards eating occurred during this season. Overall, just a strange season to cover. One of the weirdest seasons I think an NBA team has ever had to go through all at once. So it was certainly a fun time covering it, but a very confusing time as well. So with that, we are going to say adios, muchachos, or whatever phrase you want to throw in here for your specific culture. We will. I'm not sure when the next when the official post-mortem will be coming out, but be on the lookout for several articles reacting to the Giannis news or rumblings, and a whole bunch of other stuff at Brewhoop. So until next time, we'll be seeing you.
Let's conclude in this pose, just like the Giannis picture of the toast article.